Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's another show. It's another week. We are back, and yes, we are still in the studio. Brian's here. I'm here, of course, as always. How you doing, Brian? How are things?
It feels weird now.
I know.
You brought it up last week, how it was weird, and I was totally fine, and now I feel weird this week.
It does feel a little strange, doesn't it?
It does feel strange.
And it's also like now we have these microphones in the middle, so now I feel like I have to look around it to see you.
Oh, see, I have mine. Mine's perfectly right
here.
here.
I have to find a spot.
You have to find the sweet
happy.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's better.
But I think last week came out very well.
Yes.
And it was nice.
Yes. We apologize for the longness of it not being posted.
That's what she said.
There was some hiccups that we're still working out with the size of the files of what happens when it records.
Nobody cares.
So it takes a little longer and just dealing with hiccups. But hopefully this week it'll be up quicker than it was last week.
Yeah, it all worked out.
Yeah.
It all worked out.
Yeah.
I think people on Facebook, our friends who saw, liked it because we were in the studio.
Yeah.
And it looks very professional.
Yes. And it looks very clear, I've heard. It's very HD, which is not probably the way you want to see either of our faces, but
yeah,
we have faces for radio, for sure.
Yes.
But anyways,
scruff is coming back.
Yes, I could tell it's
It's coming back, baby.
It's coming in nice.
Yeah. So, Mark, I know we got a lot to talk about. 2 trailers dropped. We're going to talk about...
one this morning, right? Like, literally minutes ago.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about one that dropped today.
Yes.
And then Mando Episode 5, the last thing we talk about. But we did have D&D over the weekend.
We did.
Now, that was a fun game.
For some.
And I was very proud of myself. I did not start falling asleep at 10 o'clock.
No, you didn't. I almost walked out.
But what I wanted...
I'll admit it. I had to talk myself off the ledge.
I could tell. That's all part of playing the game.
No, not really. Not really.
Looking back now, I do agree. I don't know why that person did what they did. You're going to have to listen to find out.
Well, I could explain it. I could give you one word on why that person did what they did. It's called whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of the fellows were drinking a lot of whiskey.
Yeah. And other alcoholic beverages.
Yeah. I don't know how you can play in D&D and drink.
All throughout, you can't. If you listen to the show, you'll see you can't. Very well.
Everybody looked like they were half in the bag.
Yeah.
By the end of it.
Yeah.
All
half the group is sloshed. The other half is not.
Yeah.
At all.
No.
And the DM isn't either. So
no.
It makes for an interesting gameplay.
Yeah. Makes for something.
That's not stuff to talk about on this podcast.
No.
But anyways.
But it was a good time.
It was a blast.
And I'm learning more of my character.
I am too. I'm trying to. But as stated,
John,
whiskey.
Yeah, but it was nice that John said, Brian, I'm proud of you because you were doing I was doing stuff outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I think with characters, I doubt myself or I question how to do things, and I find it to be intimidating sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to do my best to, before each game, write down things I should do this session.
Yeah.
And then I should do them.
Well, of the group, we are the
newbies.
Newest players.
Yes.
So as for me, I barely played when I was younger, and I don't remember any of it.
The only time we played was with here.
No, I'm saying when I was in high school, I played with this couple guys a couple times, but didn't get into a campaign or anything. It was all one-off stuff. So never really got into it and know how it all works still. So I'm still trying to get myself into knowing more about it.
Yeah. Well, Bobby knows everything.
Well, Bobby, Alex, Mike,
they're really
Hutzel,
good.
They're all the experts.
Yeah.
Rocky played a lot when he was younger, but I don't have any clue what's going on.
It's going to be Rocky's never played before.
Oh,
Rocky
that
said this is his first
too.
time playing. So it is. I really want to hear all the sneezes. Jeremy has hay fever, which is weird because the pollen's not really out right now.
It is. It was really bad this past weekend. because the front that was coming through.
Usually you see it in the air.
But it
and
depends
it's on
upon
your
the
car.
person too.
I
It's
guess
different
so.
people have different times of the
But
year when it
holy
goes
crap.
off.
It was
But he was
like-
going off like a tornado alarm.
And
it's
the
going off.
episode, I hope, is going to be called
I'm hoping it'll be.
Sneezes Christ.
Yes, and I hope Bobby listens to me during the show that I mentioned during the session. I said, if there is not a top 10 list of sneezes at the end of this somewhere,
There has to be.
there's no reason for doing this.
And Bob
'cause
could even put out a single podcast that's 10 minutes long that's just all the sneezes.
I don't know if you'd want to. Who'd want to
A
listen to
sneeze supercut. I want to hear a sneeze
that? The
super.
sneezing?
If Bobby shares a file with me,
The sneezing.
yes,
That's what
I
you should call
am
it.
happy to take all the sneezes and make a sneezing supercut.
The Kazaska cut.
Yeah. That's like
The
Snyder.
sneezing?
No, it's the Hutzel cut.
It's like the Snyder cut.
This-
Well, no, because you're the director, so you'd be the
it'd be the Kazaska.
the Kazaska cut.
The sneezing.
The sneezing.
The sneezing. And it's just Jeremy
Just
sneezing.
sneezing for 10 minutes
Oh
long.
my God.
You'd be the only person that would listen to it.
I really want to hear this.
It's scary that you want to hear this.
I do.
I was there and I don't want to hear it ever again. Like now when I sneeze, I get annoyed. Because I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, oh, that's just me sneezing. It's not Hutzel sneezing again.
I sneezed this weekend, and I'm like, oh no, I hope I didn't catch whatever he had.
You can't catch allergies.
I know, but you never
Yeah.
know. But it was a good time overall.
It
I had a
was.
great time.
Good food.
It was great to see all the
good
guys.
friends. Good imagination. I don't know.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah.
The battles were nice. John incorporated the D&D movie aspects into it,
yeah.
which was kind of fun.
Yeah. Gelatinous cubes. I learned more about gelatinous cubes
Yes, gelatinous cubes.
than I ever needed to know in my life.
That was a lot of fun to get out of that.
Yeah.
So you'll hear it on the podcast that Bobby is so graciously edits and puts
Yes.
together.
Yes.
He
Because I
makes-
don't know if I'd be able to sit through that all over again.
Yeah, he's really good at it. And
Yeah.
like the times I haven't been there, I listen to that, and it's a great recap for me. And even when I forget, but luckily we've been playing every
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's all fresh in the noggin. We
Yeah.
have our chat. We talk about what's going on, and it's a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So anything else going on with you this past week? Anything worth discussing on the show?
for me, nothing other than D&D.
Yeah.
But Mark, I know D&D happened Saturday,
Yes.
which was like 6 hours of our life.
Yes.
But WrestleMania was 2 nights.
2 nights. Yes.
So you had to watch all of what happened Saturday
yes.
and Sunday.
Yes.
How the hell did you do that? That's like a whole day.
Well, thankfully it's on the Peacock.
Yes, it's on the peak.
So they do put
I
a
almost
replay
turned
out.
it on. I almost turned it on.
They do
last
put a
year.
replay out,
Yeah.
and it did definitely dropped around 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday when I got home.
Don't tell me you watched at 1 in the morning.
I did, but I sped through, just to like the ends of things.
I got home. I crashed.
I was like, you get like that runner's high almost, like after you've like
Sitting high?
well,
Sitter's high?
Like interest high, like your mind's going.
Yes,
and you
yes,
can't like
yes.
fall asleep right
Yeah, you
away.
got to wind down a little bit.
Yeah, so I figured, well, since I'm up anyways,
Oh,
I'll just blast through
jeez.
instead of waiting until.
So what time did you go to
Sunday.
bed?
Like around 2.
No wonder you were dragging.
Well, I slept in Sunday a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, how was WrestleMania and
Overall, it was good. I'd say that Saturday show was better than the Sunday show, which is kind of weird to say since Sunday had the big like match at the end of it.
who was the big match?
It was a Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes.
Now that was on Sunday.
Correct.
Now why? Okay,
That's for the championship, the Universal.
when did they start splitting it
Undisputed
in
Championship.
half, and why did they start splitting it in half?
And originally they started splitting in half because they had so many wrestlers that they couldn't fit them all on one show.
Wow.
So
Because when we were kids, it was like a 4-hour event or under, maybe
even
3.
yeah. WrestleMania you're talking about.
Yeah,
not
WrestleMania.
Okay. I thought you meant the brands.
No,
SmackDown, Raw.
No,
But they ended up doing that. I'd say less than 5 years ago, when they did split the brands up and had 2 brands, because you had a set of wrestlers on Raw and a different set of wrestlers on SmackDown.
But isn't it all part of WWE?
It's all under the WWE umbrella, but they were like think of it as like the NFL has 30 teams. WWE has 2 teams, Raw, SmackDown.
Okay.
And each one of those teams has it's like a conference. So each one of those conferences has their champion.
Their own event.
And their own, well, not their own event, but it's like their own champions for each brand. Like each one has a world champion, each one has a women's champion, each one has a tag team champion.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
when you have 8 to 10 belts, you have to fitting all that into one.
That's a long time.
It was starting to get to where it was literally at one point, I think before they broke it into 2 days, it was roughly about one like 5-hour show.
That's a lot.
And it was all just like the belts, and there was no side matches of other wrestlers just having matches.
Yeah, because back in the day, in the beginning, you would have some, smaller name wrestlers. Stuff.
Yeah. Well, like the smaller down the card stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, they decided to break it up into 2 days. Not only is it more content, but you can charge for each day separate tickets at the same price.
Yeah.
You're not buying like a weekend ticket. You're buying a Saturday ticket and a Sunday ticket. And then you just have you can involve more people, so more people get payouts from doing that. But yeah, so on Saturday, they had a set of matches. For those who aren't to know, Austin Theory won the opening match against John Cena. Street Profits beat...
Wait, John Cena lost?
John Cena lost, yes. Yeah.
But how could people see him?
That's why they couldn't, because he lost. And then they had a Fatal 4-Way Tag Showcase match, showcasing some of the men's tag teams. And a team called the Street Profits won that. And then Seth Rollins beat Logan Paul of YouTube fame.
Oh, Logan Paul lost?
Yes.
Wait, he's in the WWE now?
He is.
I thought he was a boxer.
No, that's his brother Jake Paul.
Oh, I can't keep track of the balls.
Yes. Logan Paul also has done boxing.
Yes.
He fought Floyd Mayweather.
Yes.
But Logan Paul has joined the WWE and is in the middle of doing things. He doesn't show up all the time, but he shows up for the big shows.
But okay, let's just take a second. Those two guys have had the very bonkers career. Going from
the Pauls you're talking about.
The Pauls.
Yes.
Going from
YouTube.
Well, no, even before YouTube, they were on not TikTok wasn't popular then. It was
Periscope,
Vine, or whatever.
It was Vine. They were Vine guys.
And then they all migrated to YouTube.
When Vine died, they went to YouTube.
And then they got
a lot
huge.
of controversy in the YouTube world.
Yeah, and then they became boxers. And,
yes.
Now
they have their own podcast.
NFT.
Logan
Shills.
Paul's his own podcast and everything, and he has a drink company he owns.
It's crazy.
A whole bunch of stuff. And then after that, Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, and Lita from 90s fame defeated a group called Damage Control, which consists of Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai, which none of those names mean anything to you.
Wait, is Dakota Kai related to Cobra Kai?
No, she's not.
Right. Well, too bad, because I think
Rey Mysterio beat his son Dominic Mysterio.
Wait, Mysterio from Marvel MCU?
No, that's a different thing. Rhea Ripley beat Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Reed Ripley's Believe It or Not?
Yes.
That's.
And then in the main event of Saturday, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeated the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships.
Candace Owens?
Kevin Owens.
Are they related?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, Kevin Owens is from Canada.
Bullet dodge there, I guess.
Yeah. This all took place at SoFi Stadium in L.A., which is crazy huge.
Yeah.
It's like a $5 billion arena they built out in L.A. It's ridiculous. But yeah, so that was night 1. Night 2, again, kicked it right back off again. Everything.
John Cena?
No John Cena.
Oh, John Cena.
Brock Lesnar, actually, wrestled Omos, who was a 7'3" Nigerian former basketball player.
I thought you were going to say Nigerian Prince.
No, they call him the Nigerian Giant, actually.
Oh. Never mind.
But no, so he lost to Brock Lesnar, and then they did a women's tag team showcase match, which was won by Ronda Rousey of UFC fame, and Shayna Baszler.
Wait, Ronda Rousey?
Ronda Rousey has been in WWE for a little while now.
Oh
yes.
my
Yeah,
God.
she came over. And the best match of the whole weekend, in my opinion, Gunther, who was an Austrian wrestler from Austria. He's been huge overseas. It was called Walter. Now he's in WWE as Gunther, beat Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. And it was like probably the best match of the whole weekend.
Now, when you say Gunther, I think of Gunther from Friends.
I know you do. That's why I knew you were going to say that. But then after that
Rachel,
was
I love
the
you.
Raw's Women's Championship. Bianca Belair beat Asuka. And then in a Hell in the Cell match, actually right after that was a thing with Shane McMahon returned. And the big news of the whole weekend was they came out to beat up The Miz.
Oh, The Miz. I know
Yes,
The Miz. I
yeah.
know that name.
And 10 seconds into their little match that they threw together, Shane McMahon went for a leapfrog, came down, and exploded his quad. Like, literally, his leg just exploded.
That sounds horrible.
Yes, it looked disgusting. Like, he came down, and he went to stand up, and you could see that he was not getting up. Like, his leg just was, nothing was there. It was just this down. It was like, ugh. Yeah, it was bad.
Wait, now I thought The Miz.
But then the Snoop Dogg came in and punched the Miz out, and
Well, we all know that's fake.
yeah.
Clearly, that would never happen in real life.
Well, I mean, Snoop Dogg's a pretty tough guy.
Now, The Miz, I thought retired from wrestling.
No,
And
he
he-
still wrestles, but he does
Alright.
the reality TV show too.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's his thing. Then after that, they had a Hell in a Cell match with Edge of '90s fame. He's a Hall of Famer now.
Razor Ramon?
No, that's the Razor's Edge. That was a move. There's a wrestler named Edge. And he battled the Demon, Finn Balor.
The Demon.
Yes, he actually comes out painted up like a demon and everything. And they had Russell Crowe doing the intro for it because the match was sponsored by the Pope's Exorcist.
What a weird crossover.
Yeah.
Because I saw the trailer, and it looks like it could be good,
Yeah.
but the fact that they're crossing over with WWE is bonkers.
Yeah. Well, because the shtick was, since Finn Balor's called the Demon,
Yes, I get it.
and Edge's thing is he came out in his old Brood gimmick, where it was very gothic and devilish, vampire-esque. That I think that was the connection there.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
like,
I get it.
oh, we can get some sponsorship here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very weird. Some matches were sponsored by TurboTax, which was very awkward because they kept pulling up TurboTax ads in the middle of the matches. And Cinnamon Toast Crunch sponsored a match. The Mysterio match was sponsored by Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and they had a person in a Cinnamon Toast Crunch costume, high-fiving the wrestler as Rey Mysterio came into the ring.
Okay.
So
Who was the accountant back in the 90s?
IRS,
IRS?
Erwin R. Shyster.
Yeah. That's who they should have
That's
brought
who they
back.
should have had come
Yes.
out. Exactly.
I remember
They
him.
should have had some kind of skit with
Yeah.
him. That'd have
yeah,
been perfect.
Yeah.
And then the big end of the weekend, Roman Reigns defeated Cody Rhodes to retain the championship
Wow.
and continue a storyline which everyone thought was going to end
Not-
at WrestleMania.
Now
But it's not.
It's going to continue.
Yeah. And then we'll find out more on Raw tonight, which is usually a big show because the first show after WrestleMania. There's always surprises and returns and all sorts of stuff. So it's a big week in the wrestling world.
I get, and
for all the
also
wrestling fans.
today, you might know this, WWE and the UFC are merging under one company.
Supposedly. Sources say.
No, what's happening?
Is it official now?
It's
It was a big
official.
thing yesterday. They were like, sources say.
No.
Source says say.
I'll read the article to you. It is official. WWE and the UFC are set to merge under one company led by former Endeavor CEO Aaron Emanuel as CEO and Vince McMahon as executive chairman. As reported in the Hollywood Reporter, World Wrestling Entertainment and UFC's Endeavor will form under a new company, Endeavor Group Holdings World Wrestling Entertainment, operating under the ticket symbol of TKO. Endeavor will hold 51% controlling interest, while WWE shareholders will hold 49%. So almost a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon said this is a rare opportunity to create a global live sports entertainment pure play built for where the industry is headed.
And if I don't sell, the SEC is going to take the company away from me. That's another thing. but that's here nor there.
I don't know anything about that.
Well, he was found to be using money from the company to pay off women who have accused him of sexual harassment.
That came out last year. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what else is new? No, why?
You know, he's very good friends with Donald Trump. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
So anyway, they're merging.
Not allegedly that he's friends with Donald Trump, but allegedly the other stuff.
Right. They are merging, so they're going to be under one roof.
That's huge.
TKO.
It's been a big thing, like I said just before that. Since last year, Vince McMahon's been trying to sell the company. And there's been multiple companies rumored to be the one that was going to purchase it. Comcast was in the running for a little while. Mm-hmm. Then that fell through. Disney was talked about buying it.
I heard, yeah.
A Saudi group from Saudi Arabia was talked about buying it, and that was very not well received news by the fan base. So I think that kind of squashed that one. Selling it to Endeavor makes sense. WWE and UFC have worked together a lot recently in business-wise. A lot of wrestlers from WWE have gone to UFC, and as you heard, Ronda Rousey from UFC and Brock Lesnar from UFC have come from UFC to wrestle. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
You're interested to see what they are saying is going to be true. Like if people are going to stay in the positions that they are, and it's just going to be like a business is being sold kind of thing.
Well, they're merging. So
well, I mean, but like if it's going to be like,
sure.
Yeah, but I mean, how that's all going to work out and everything, that's going to be a thing. The crazy part of this whole thing is that it's a Connecticut company, another Connecticut company that's being sold to somebody else outside of Connecticut.
I understand, but they're not being sold; they're merging, so it still exists.
I mean, but you know what I mean. It's like there's going
to be called something else.
Yeah, and they just built a huge complex down.
I'm sure they're going to
in like Stanford area.
Yeah, I'm sure they're still going to be using it.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. So it's kind of crazy. It's just,
So the deal was
Connecticut and businesses has not been good lately. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree. The deal has been unanimously approved.
I.e. Lego.
By both companies, board of directors, and it's expected to close in the second half of this year.
Yeah.
And what you were saying before, McMahon returned to WWE's board of directors in January after
a forced return. He came
retiring from an organization in 2022 following sexual misconduct allegations, claiming he had paid millions of dollars in secret settlements to accusers dating back to 2006.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's probably a good thing for him.
Yeah.
And obviously there is crossover. So I think it's a win-win for both. It's, so now it's going to be called TKO, which is kind of a fun name.
Yeah. Well, that'd be just like the ticker name at the stock exchange kind of thing.
TKO.
UFC's president, Dana White, who's the founder, or one of the guys that's like the main guy from UFC, has put out a comment on it saying, this company has been on fire for the last 7 years, and stupid things are popping up.
And pop-ups.
And now that we will be adding WWE to the portfolio. I'm excited to take this to another level. Vince is a savage in the wrestling space. Ari is a beast at what he does. And then add that we at UFC bring to the table, and there is no limit to what this company can accomplish in the next few years. So
there you go.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. I mean, I know we've talked about on here before that the TV contracts are coming up for the two WB shows. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see how that all works out. WB has its own network on Peacock.
Yeah.
And internationally, they have their own network. Interesting to see how that works with UFC. UFC is really connected with ESPN and airing stuff on there. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. Does one of the shows end up on ESPN? Do they work more with Disney? There's a lot of interesting things that come out of this.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that all turns out business-wise, as well as show wise. But yeah, so that's your wrestling news portion of the show, which is not a usual thing we talk about on here, but a lot of stuff going on. WrestleMania is like one of those things that, even if you're a casual fan, WrestleMania weekend is like the big week for everyone.
I wanted to hear about it. Just because I don't watch it doesn't mean...
No, I know, but it's just like it's a thing it's
a big thing.
It's popular.
It is
There's a lot of... They literally had 161,952 people over the 2 days, averaging like 80,000 a day.
I believe it.
Inside SoFi. And it literally was... Saturday was the highest attendance for SoFi, and it was broke less than 24 hours later by Sunday.
Wow. Yeah.
It was like 81,000 some odd people.
Jeez, that's a lot of people.
So
I guess COVID's over.
Yeah. But even without that, it's just the fact that like a 2-day event,
that's bonkers.
That's 160,000 people.
That's like Coachella numbers.
Like floor seats for the show was probably going for around $3,000 a pop.
Right.
Like ringside, I couldn't even imagine how much a ticket was.
Yeah. Probably in the thousands.
Like, I know a couple guys that went, and I kind of want to find out. I was going to ask them, like, how much, kind of weird to ask, but, like, how much was, like, their seats? Because I know some of the seats, like, a nosebleed, like, way up in the rafters, probably was, like, $100 a pop. And you're, like, watching it basically on a TV screen, so it's, like, kind of crazy. But yeah. So what else we got going on, Brian? I know we had a couple trailers drop. I know that there was a Marvel trailer and a DC trailer dropped in the past 2 days.
WrestleMania tickets can go as low as $64 or as high as $308.
Oh, there you go. But that's like face value.
Yes.
Second market, as we know.
Well, that's through
nothing
SeatGeek.
Is. Yeah, but even still, I don't think anything is. And SeatGeek's one of the more reputable ones that you don't really go crazy with, like the.
Here we go.
The put up.
They can go as high as 514 or 858.
Yeah.
And that is lower level, while 300 level tickets prices are $1,478.
Yeah.
Wow. Even so, in Ticket Smart,
yeah,
it's saying it can range from 50 to 3,000.
Yeah.
And they have reached to $6,000 seats near the ring.
Yeah, ringside. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I was curious.
Yeah, Rick Rubin was there for both nights.
Rick Rubin?
Yeah.
Why am
He's a huge wrestling fan.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Record producer?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, Claire was like, they showed the...
He's got a big beard. You can't miss him.
They showed like he was sitting behind the Spanish announce table, and Claire's like, I was like, oh, that's Rick Rubin. She's like, that could just be any old guy. I'm like, no, that's Rick Rubin. She's like, wow.
How do you know for sure it was him?
Yes. Yeah, he goes. They mentioned him on the broadcast. He goes to all the WrestleManias, basically. He's a huge fan.
That's so bizarre.
He helps, like, he's produced music for different things. Like, Edge came into Slayer. Like, a Slayer song was his entrance song. So, not that it has anything to do with Rick Rubin, but just music. It's very big music stuff.
No, I know. Yeah. I know. All right, we're going to the box office, Mark.
All right.
Do you have that up, or do you want me to?
Oh, I don't. But if you have it,
well, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves has emerged victorious over the weekend by earning $38.5 million and taking down John Wick Chapter 4.
Yeah.
And John Wick was only in the theater for 2 weeks now.
Well, the question a lot of people are asking is that enough to warrant them starting a franchise of Dungeons and Dragons movies?
Well, this is only its first week.
Yeah.
But hold on. There's more.
Opening wise.
On the high, it brought in globally total $71.5 million, which is really good for such a smaller film.
Yeah.
The production budget was $150 million.
Well, I think too the thing with the D&D movie, which we'll talk about more when we talk about the movie itself, more in depth in a little bit, but
also critically and the audience are on par.
Yes, but I think this is going to be more of a word of mouth type movie. Like people are going to go see it and then be like, "You got to go see this movie."
Yes, like
as opposed to like someone randomly seeing it on like an ad for it and being like, "Oh, I want to see that movie."
Yeah.
because people see Dungeons and Dragons and they assume you have to know Dungeons and Dragons to watch this.
I think this movie will let's see where it goes its second weekend, but
Yeah.
I do believe you're right, and I do believe that people like us who got to see it first
Yeah.
got to say, listen, you don't need to be in Dungeons
You
and
don't.
Dragons.
You don't need
It's
to.
a great, fun family movie.
Yeah.
You
And
can
it's
bring
also
the whole
like,
family.
if you're into fantasy movies, like
That's great.
Lord of the Rings, any of that kind of stuff, or any kind of like that genre of film, you're going to love this movie. Even if you're just in the comedies, you're going to love this movie.
Yeah.
You don't have to be into Dungeons and Dragons. If you aren't in Dungeons and Dragons, there's
It's a
enough
bonus.
stuff in there to keep you interested as well.
Yeah.
And there's even like an Easter egg I found out at the end of the movie that I heard about over the weekend that I didn't catch. That
I mean-
was like amazing to me. I guess there's like there's a shot at the end of the movie, very quick shot in the movie of the original cartoon team, like in live action.
Oh, well, they
Yeah.
just put the old cartoon teaser trailer
Yeah.
promoting the movie.
Yeah.
Which
But
is
they
kinda
actually
cool.
actually have they actually went for the effort of casting
Oh, interesting.
the team from
That's cool.
the cartoon.
That's fun.
Yeah, which I vaguely remember the cartoon because I was like, oh man, I remember watching parts of it, but I don't remember
I have the box set.
being into it.
Look, that was my only introduction to Dungeons and Dragons as a kid was
Yeah.
the cartoon. So I did see Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. He's a big D&D player. He plays with Joe Manganiello, who
Yeah.
has one of the biggest A-listing D&D
Yes.
teams of all
Yeah.
time. So if I saw Tom Morello, he was in the audience scene near the end, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I want to see it again because I bet you.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in there. I'm sure like Manganiello's in there somewhere.
I have to
or
imagine.
playing a character that we didn't know.
Or he could be under something.
That's
that
what I'm
has-
saying.
Yeah,
Like a Dragonborn or something like that, or because there's a lot of stuff like that. Like I know like there's a lot of people saying like different people who play characters were cast as their character in the movie, kinda. Like none of the Vox Machina folks, of course, but like
No.
other people,
Right,
that are
right,
like that
right.
do D&D stuff.
Now, this is the way I see it is, yes, do I want a sequel with this cast and crew? Definitely.
Yeah.
Do I want to see more of them? Yes.
Yeah,
The moment someone starts is like, oh, they want to do like an MCU, I'm like, no, I'm
No.
tired of this. Just give me a sequel. Nice
Yeah.
and simple. We don't need to have shootouts.
overarching
and-
stories and
Yeah,
things.
I
There
don't.
need to be other characters.
This is becoming
involved.
homework, not entertainment.
Yes.
So, like, for me personally, just make us a great sequel.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's all I want.
yeah. And I think too, you could do a thing where you have it be this same team, just on a different adventure. Like,
Yes.
they don't have to do the same story. It doesn't have to keep going.
This
You
story's
don't have
over.
to. Yeah, you could
But we
like with
also know
D&D,
there
you can have the overarching bad guy being that
Yeah.
guy that was in this
But
story.
there
But another
is an
thing that
overarching bad guy who was controlling the
Yeah.
the Red Queen.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. So you can do another story in that vein, just another adventure that they have to go on to investigate this more, just like in D&D.
Right.
Just keep the same team.
Yeah.
And then you can, down the road, if you wanted to remove like a Chris Pine or somebody like that or something like,
It's
And
interchangeable.
you can bring in new people into the
Yes.
squad and other people can go away kind of
Right,
thing, that
right.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like D&D. So I
Yes.
think you can easily do this.
Yeah. So I hope it does well. I hope we get a nice sequel. I don't want to have fatigue of like every IP in the world having 50,000.
No, and that's the thing. That's everything
spin-offs.
too.
It's
Is
like I'm getting tired
We've
of
talked
it.
about this before, and I think I've come around to the thing of Marvel does what Marvel does, and they do it. They've got
Yeah.
it figured out. They have their deal.
But not everybody's Marvel.
Not everyone has to do what Marvel does.
Yeah.
Like DC doesn't have to do the same thing Marvel does. Not everything has to be connected. You can easily just do your individual movies and just do your movies. You don't have to have a whole universe where everyone's in the same group together and they all end up fighting a big bad. I mean, I know it's comic books and that's how comic books work, and you can still do that, but it doesn't have to be the exact same way Marvel's doing it.
Yeah. I don't want it to be.
Yeah,
It's becoming oversaturated.
exactly. But anyways, back to the box office. I know you said Dungeon Dragons won the weekend.
Yes.
Coming in second was John Wick Chapter 4, which
Yes.
you've seen.
I know
talked about.
I'm hoping to see it
Yeah.
this Friday.
So, you haven't seen it yet?
No.
Oh, I thought you have seen it.
No.
Well, all told, so far, John Wick has pulled in $122 million.
That's pretty good.
$122.8 million to be exact. Third was His Only Son, which I have no idea what that is. That topped out at $5.5 million for the weekend.
Yeah.
Or no, for the weekend. Yeah, well, whatever. It came in third. It's totaled $5.5 million total so far. Fourth was Scream 6. And then Creed 3 was fifth. Shazam fell all the way to sixth. Only its second week in theaters.
I mean, I will see.
It's only made $53 million.
It's a flop, but I will watch it on HBO Max. I'm not like, I feel bad for Zachary Levi because I think he's a great guy. He seems like a really cool, nice person. And honestly, it makes me really want to dive into Chuck.
Yeah.
It's one of my shows next on my list of shows to check out. And I've heard a lot of people who I watch online have all said it's been a fun, great movie. It just, I think people are just kind of like, what's the point? Because the DCU's dead. Or maybe they're just getting tired. It just doesn't look interesting.
Well, I think there's part of it is that what you said with the DCU's dead thing. I think there's part of it in that where it's just, why? Why am I watching this if it goes nowhere? This is not going anywhere.
Right.
No matter what you do in this movie, if you leave it on a cliffhanger of some sort, it's not going to go anywhere. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, these characters are
These
done.
characters are all dead.
Right.
In like universe world. They're not going to be making another Shazam movie. And I think also it just wasn't like the thing I've heard about this movie from online and reading things is this doesn't have the same charm as the first one did. Like that first Shazam movie, I think you almost too many Shazams is another thing I've heard.
No, it's a family.
Like every kid is a Shazam now.
Well, my biggest...
And I think that kind of like took the bloom off the rose, kind of. It was cool when it was one kid changing.
Yeah.
Now every single kid is screaming Shazam like every 5 seconds.
Well, that's the comics.
And changing.
It's
but
the
it's
whole
like,
it's the
I know,
whole group.
But I think it was just that it didn't translate well to the movie.
Well,
or live action, I would say.
The way I saw Shazam, I really like Shazam 1.
Yes.
But I always found it was weird that Zachary Levi played Shazam younger than the kid played himself. Like when he was in kid mode, he seemed very mature.
Yeah.
And then when he
got goofier.
He became goofier.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like you felt like there were two disconnected
There wasn't
characters.
connected. But I think in the first movie, it kind of was easier to explain away the fact that he was like turning into an adult superhero and he didn't know how to handle all that.
That continues
but it's like,
in this movie.
why does this still continue? If you've been Shazam for a while now,
you should be a little bit
more able to handle it and not be as goofy.
And if your kid version is
and
more
I think
serious,
there was a lot of like
there's
like a lot of on the kids side of things. There's a lot deeper like story, like him trying to come to terms with aging out of the system and everything, and how does that work and everything, and how is he going to handle that, and is he going to still stay with the family he's with, or does he just go on his own? And I think it just didn't connect. Like when he would Shazam and be Zachary Levi, that story still wasn't attached. It was kind of like a whole different thing. And like Helen Mirren was a weird casting choice.
Okay, that's what I was waiting to get to. I
get the thing with Helen Mirren, but there's also the thing where I don't get the thing with Helen Mirren.
Okay. I have the cover of the new issue of Den of Geek, which is free, comes at comic book stores.
Yeah.
It's got the cast as Shazam. And I'm looking at it going, okay, Lucy Liu, she still looks young and vibrant.
Yeah, still kind of makes sense.
Zachary Levi looks good. You got the new cast, young. Then Helen Mirren looks old and decrepit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is she the bad guy?
I mean, she could be a bad guy.
But it
doesn't make any sense for her to be a bad guy
in
that
a superhero movie.
Fights.
Yeah.
And is like flying around and has powers and is like doing all these things.
Who in the casting was like, let's put like,
you could have gotten somebody else.
Someone younger.
Not even like it's just a different.
I'm not trying to be ageist here.
No, it didn't fit, and her acting style does not fit that character.
Non-threatening is what it feels like. It feels like you're fighting a senior citizen.
It's like your grandma's, Matthew.
Yes,
like,
I
why
know.
am I fighting my grandma? I don't want to fight grandma. I want to hang out with my grandma and have her bake me cookies.
It should have been someone who commanded power that's probably younger. And listen,
Helen Mirren's also not an intimidating person.
that's what I'm saying. It just feels.
If you had there's other actresses or actors, whatever way you want to call it. I don't know what they call them now. It changes. But there's other people that could have been that.
Yes,
that
I agree.
Character.
It was weird casting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I will watch it on HBO Max. And we can discuss then what we feel. But
Like Olivia Colman. She'd have been perfect.
Oh, from Doctor Who? Who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Cool.
She was in Doctor Who, but she was also the girl that was in Broadchurch with David Tennant.
Oh. I don't remember. It's been so long.
She's also in The Crown recently. She played
I never watched
the
The
Queen.
Crown.
She's in the trailer she's in the Secret Invasion.
Oh, okay. Well, she's already in something.
So that's the thing.
So there you
What
go.
I'm saying, but she was a perfect type of character for that.
Right.
I think if you just went 10 years earlier,
Yeah, 10 years younger.
actor, you could have easily gotten away with it.
Just seemed weird. Like, it has that scene where they're sitting in the park across from each other, and it looks like he's like, Grandma, take your medication. Like, I don't know.
Don't forget your Metamucil.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem...
Yeah, it just seemed weird.
Seemed weird.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird, let's talk about the
Speaking
Blue
of
Beetle
weird.
trailer that dropped this morning.
Oof. We just watched it right before the show started.
We did.
And I know I've talked about it on this show before. I am a huge Booster Gold fan, who in the comic book is best friends with Blue Beetle.
Okay.
So I know a little bit about the Blue Beetle story.
Now, what's your opinion? I don't know anything. It's not my...
First off, speaking of casting, the casting of Blue Beetle, the actor that they picked, is the kid from Cobra Kai.
You seem good. I don't know. I don't know Cobra Kai.
If you've watched Cobra Kai, his acting is not the best. It's very soap opera-y, which I don't know if that's just the writing that he deals with.
Well, Cobra Kai's
But
kind of that way.
there's
isn't
also
it?
kind of, he's very whiny in the show, which could be his character.
Probably.
But just a little bit of the trailer I saw seems to be that's just him. It's not the writing. It seems to be he's just that whiny voice kind of person, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I don't buy him as Blue Beetle.
It felt like a
And
CW movie.
Why George Lopez? I thought George Lopez... When did George Lopez become a thing again?
Well, he has a show on NBC.
I know, but I don't...
Lopez and Lopez, I think.
I
It's
don't
him
know
and
what
his
that is.
daughter.
Okay.
But
I
never
just
watched
don't...
it. But
I don't know.
let's talk
It looks like a made-for-TV movie.
It
It doesn't look like
does.
an actual film.
It kind of reminds me of like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man a little bit, or maybe it reminds me of an origin story of Spider-Man because he's learning his powers. It's like Iron Man and Spider-Man all wrapped into one.
It's like Tom Holland. It's like a low-rent Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah.
A low-budget, not as good writing Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Now,
movie.
here's the thing. This movie's coming out in August 18th. Well, we've already seen Shazam 2 flop.
This will be the first movie of the new regime.
No, this
like
is
after
still
The
under
Flash.
old. This is still under
this
old.
is still old one?
Yes.
So why are we getting this after the
It's already
Flash
been made.
movie?
It was already been made.
Why wouldn't you air this before the Flash movie then? If this was an old...
We still have
This
Flash.
makes no sense. This whole DC thing
We have
makes
Blue
no sense
Beetle,
to me.
and we still have Aquaman 2. All
don't-
coming out.
What is DC doing?
They have to let these movies come out.
Yeah,
because
but
they've already
why
been
wouldn't
made.
the Flash go after those? Why would the Flash come out before those?
Well, it depends. If this,
Why would you launch a universe and still have two movies
they're not
floating
launching
out
it until
there?
2025, Mark.
Yeah, but the Flash is setting up the new universe, correct?
It's ending, but also that takes in a different place in a different timeline from what we know. It takes place in a
I'm totally
timeline.
confused.
It takes place in a timeline where there's no superhumans at all, and that's why Zod comes down. He takes over the planet because there's no metahumans or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
So that takes place in a different universe.
But I thought that the
Michael
whole thing
Keaton
was this was
exists.
supposed to
I don't know, Mark. We haven't seen
wrap up the old universe and set up the new universe.
I don't know, Mark. I don't know, Mark.
So if that's the case, why would you put this out before your 2 other movies that you're putting out this year?
Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2 are both coming out. Those are all movies
But
that
The Flash
came...
is coming out as well.
Yes. These are all movies that were made in the old regime at DC. And they've
So they're
already been
making
made.
this Blue Beetle movie
Yeah.
for no reason at this point.
Will it flop like Shazam 2?
Yes, because Shazam just already set the standard for you that if people know there's nothing coming after this, why do I care?
Well,
If I know this story isn't going anywhere,
right.
why am I going to watch a dead story?
Now, if Blue Beetle is not attached to anything and say it does very well, then the new people could look at it and be like, okay, maybe that could continue. We don't know.
But here's the other thing. We've already seen Shazam's. We just talked about Shazam's issues.
Yeah.
And what happened with Shazam. Let's just assume, because as we've seen, no one wanted to see the Flash movie until one 5-second scene showed up in the trailer.
Michael Keaton.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now all the weirdos want to see Michael Keaton play
We're not weirdos.
play Batman again.
Yes.
Because we just talked about we're not intimidated by a 80-year-old Helen Mirren,
No.
but we'll be super thrilled for a 60-some-odd-year-old Michael Keaton
Well, yeah.
playing Batman.
Yes.
Because, sure, why not?
They look very different, though.
So-
one looks way older than the other.
Whatever. But let's say Flash comes out, does
It's going to do very
moderately well.
It's going to do moderately well.
Yeah.
It's
It's not going to be like Endgame type numbers,
No,
but
no,
it's
no,
not going to
no,
be
no, no.
disrespectful numbers.
It's
It's
going
not
to
going
be
to be Shazam numbers, we'll say that.
Yes.
does better than Shazam.
Yes.
But then let's say this Blue Beetle movie comes out.
Uh-huh.
We just saw the trailer. We were just talking about it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't look that great.
No, it doesn't.
This movie doesn't do well.
It's going to flop.
If it does. Let's just say it does.
Yeah.
And let's just say Aquaman 2 doesn't do anything either.
I think Aquaman 2 will probably do okay.
But
Better
even still,
than this.
But even still,
Better than this.
not where it should be
No.
for a sequel to what was a relatively big movie.
It was. Aquaman 1
Yeah.
did very well.
Yeah. So your DC, your average this year of 4 movies you're putting out is meh.
Yeah, they're just kind of coming out.
Where do you go from here? What do you do?
Well, that's it. And
Then you got a whole year off. of nothing going
2025,
on.
they're rebooting the whole universe.
If we got no movies from DC
That's
next
a good
year.
thing. They need to step away.
No,
and
I'm just saying. So
regroup.
we get no movies from DC next year.
I think
And
Aquaman
then
2 might be
DC
next year.
comes back in 2025
Yeah,
with whatever.
Spider-Man. I'm Superman. Sorry.
Yeah. Whoever that ends up being.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I don't see where we're going here or how this is going to work.
They're starting something fresh, so I think that's how it's going to
I
work.
understand that, but I just don't see. DC's had enough problems already where people are kind of. There's got to be a little bit of backlash from the audience at this point, where it's like
Well,
we're already on our 3rd, 4th Superman.
what do you mean? There's only been
All
one.
told, we've had Christopher Reeves.
Okay, that was in the 80s.
We've had
That was in the 80s,
Brendan
Mark.
Routh.
Yeah, that was
We had
one
Henry
time.
Cavill,
That's it.
and now we're having this other guy,
Who?
whoever this new person is.
Yeah, but we can say the same thing about Spider-Man. We literally had a reboot of Spider-Man in the
But those
span of
movies were all
5
good.
years. We haven't seen the new Superman, so we cannot say anything.
I know, but we've
You know what I'm saying?
her previous experience with DC in the past 2 that DC's made by themselves.
My faith in James Gunn is a lot higher than the old regime at DC with Snyder.
But this is like, I'm going to equate this to sports for people who are into sports. We're getting into this part now with the James Gunn thing where it's very similar to, was James Gunn good because he was working with Marvel?
No, he's always
stuff?
been good.
No, I'm just saying. Was James Gunn good because the characters he was working with were from Marvel and he was good with those characters? Or is James Gunn good because it's just James Gunn?
I think he knows comic books. I think he's a smart guy.
I mean, he did Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
He did
which
Suicide
was
Squad
fantastic. I loved it.
and Peacemaker.
Which was a fantastic show.
But now he's in charge of everything.
Yeah. It's not only him though. It's what's his name too.
What I'm saying, but
Yeah.
I mean,
he is actually going to be writing and directing Superman, the Superman movie.
you say he has help, but so far he's wrote and directed Suicide Squad, wrote and directed Peacemaker, and now he's gonna write and direct Superman too.
Yeah, and he also
So
did.
is anyone else gonna direct and write any of these other movies, or is it just be James Gunn writing everything?
No.
Okay.
He was taking on. He said he's going to take on Superman, but everybody else is gonna. They're figuring it all out.
So here's the next thing. So let's say down the road
Mm-hmm.
we get the Superman movie,
Yeah.
and just for argument's sake,
Yeah. We don't know what's going to be.
I know, but I'm just saying for
yeah.
argument's sake, for discussion that we're having right now,
Yeah.
let's say it's not good. What do they do then?
I don't know because I can't predict the future.
Can DC, if this doesn't work out, can DC reboot again, or does this have to be the one that works?
I think it has to.
Because we're on our third iteration of this at this point.
Yeah, but we can go back and say Spider-Man's had 3 iterations.
No, I mean just DC's universe thing. We were on like the
this is
second
a
or third version of this.
Second.
Well, it feels
not
like
third.
the third at this
It's
point.
been second. Let's keep the
Yeah.
facts straight.
Okay.
It's second. We don't know. I trust in James Gunn that they want to reboot the whole universe. Now, we don't know how it's all going to shake out. These movies, all we know is was made, produced, written, directed, filmed, all prior. They have to come out. That's not in James Gunn's hands.
You can't
This
say
is
that
Warner
either.
Brothers.
You can't say they have to come out
But
because
they
they had
are.
a Batgirl movie basically done and they didn't. That's not coming
I
out.
think
So they easily could
we
have
don't
just
know-
shelved all these movies
we
and
don't
not done anything.
we don't know, but from what got released to the public was it was unreleasable and it was not good. So
Well,
they shelved it.
That's not. Yeah.
We don't know beyond what we're told. We can't
Yeah.
come up with it.
From what we've heard from people who were in the movie,
Brendan Fraser won.
said there was one screening of it for the WWE.
All he said
people,
was it
and they
wasn't
said
in
they
good
didn't like
shape.
it, and they didn't like it.
Yeah, he
so
said
they just shelved it immediately.
He said it could have been cut.
there was a good movie in there. They just had to edit it and just do a couple
but
things.
that's a
and it would've been
Warner
totally
Brothers. That
fine.
was during the whole Warner Brothers
Yeah,
takeover.
It was a victim of the merger.
And that is a tax write-off. So
Yeah.
they shelved it.
Yeah.
Clearly, they saw the Flash. They feel it's good. Blue Beetle, for some reason, they think is going to be good. Aquaman 2, they think is going to be good. I don't know, Mark. Listen, I'm saying these movies, I don't think Blue Beetle is going to do good.
No,
Seeing this trailer does not excite me at all.
no.
But
I was somewhat excited
these
for
movies
this trailer.
have to come out.
I'll tell you
so-
right now, I was somewhat excited for this trailer.
Yes, I know. And I,
I
don't
didn't
wanna,
know who they'd cast as Blue Beetle.
All right,
I've
so-
kept out of knowledge of knowing anything about it. I didn't even know the trailer was dropping until Josh mentioned it,
Yeah.
or you mentioned it. But watching that, I'm not excited for it. I will wait till it's on HBO Max.
Okay, fair enough. And I looked up Aquaman 2. I said that weird. That is coming out December 25th of this year.
I know. That's what I said. It's a good Christmas movie, I think.
So this is
Yeah.
going to be the last. Aquaman 2 is the final old DCU.
Yeah.
And they're done.
So no matter what happens in that movie,
Done.
nothing is going anywhere from it.
Done.
So if, again, like we've said with the Shazam movie, if there's any kind of cliffhanger ending to it,
They probably cut all these
It
things
won't be any
out.
finish.
Yeah, they probably cut a lot of stuff out to keep it so there's probably going to be no ending at Aquaman 2 where they're going to be like, we're going to fight a big bad. They probably cut all that stuff out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to
You
end.
hope.
It's going to end.
you hope.
It's going to be over.
You hope.
So I don't know. Anyway,
I just don't get it because the DCU universe that we just went through
we're
was
still
basically
in. We're still in.
Yeah, that we're still in. Was helmed by people who wrote comic books. It was helmed by like Jeff Johns and those guys who know the comics. They wrote all the comic books.
They weren't
that they're
helming the
making
DCU though.
No, but they wrote some of the movies and they've worked on a lot of the stuff. So there was they were involved.
Well, but
So it's kind of crazy to me that now just because James Gunn's taking over, it's going to get better.
what are you talking about? No, the person in charge was not the people who wrote the comics.
No, but I'm saying, but those guys were
Scott
involved.
Snyder started the universe,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And then those characters moved on, and I
It's just
couldn't
this
tell
has
you
been
the writers
a lot
and
of stutter
directors.
steps on this. DC thing.
Well, DC's got problems. What are you gonna say?
I mean, the Zack Snyder thing, and then the Joss Whedon thing, and then the Wonder Woman situations, and then, like, not one of their movies has been smooth.
No, there's always a problem. So I don't know.
So it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see this, like, how it's going to work out.
I think it will shape out fine.
I hope so. It'd be great. Like,
I think it will.
If they make a Booster Gold movie, I'll be there.
I have high hopes. I have faith in who's going to take over. We just got to get through this year. They take a year off to regroup, and they come back strong. That's what I want. That's
you know what the
I
solution to all these things is?
And I love DC characters.
Well, I do too. That's the thing. I love Batman. I love Flash. I love
what's weird?
Green Lantern. I love all those guys.
I love the MCU a lot, and I enjoy, and I'm very grateful I get to be alive to see all this stuff.
I want DCU to do well.
But I love DC Comics.
Yes.
When I go to get my comics on Friday, I probably buy more DC Black Label comics than I buy anything else.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite stuff is the Batman, is the Wonder Woman, is...
Yeah.
So, do I want to see these characters be done right? Yes. And do I think the casting has been fantastic? Needless to say, yeah, I thought Snyder did a great job casting.
Yeah, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is fantastic.
Yeah, but...
Like, no one else should play Wonder Woman at this point.
Do I want a fresh start? Do I want DC to do well? Do I want competition in this industry where it ups MCU? Because right now MCU is kind of flatlining.
Well,
so,
in your opinion.
In a lot of people's opinion, not just mine.
Well, I know,
but I'm just saying.
I think some of the stuff they've done this year is pretty good. You just think it's not as good. That's fine.
This year, they haven't had a home run. MCU has not had a home run at all. Name one home run this year so far.
I think Captain Marvel was
hasn't come out yet.
No, the show.
That came out last year.
Oh, did
I'm talking about this year.
I feel like it was this year.
No.
Oh, it's only 3 months in, so nothing's come out.
That's what I'm saying.
Ant-Man wasn't terrible.
It didn't do well.
Well,
it had a massive drop off. It didn't do well, and it
like
was not
$200 million it's made already.
It was not received well by the audience nor the critics. And I'm not saying it was a horrible movie, but it was like empty calories. I watched it, I enjoyed it, and I forgot all about it.
On the Marvel movies, on the Marvel, like on Ant-Man and stuff like that, are the fan base that first started watching the Marvel movies, is it the movies aren't good enough, or is it the movies aren't being made for them anymore?
No, I believe, because Marvel's been made for everyone. It's inclusive to everybody. But I think we've said this before, and now Iger coming back to Disney, and him and Kevin Feige both said the same thing. When Iger had left, the new guy took over, Chapek, it became quantity over quality.
Yeah.
It is very true. We have been inundated by MCU stuff.
Well, the old fire hose story that we talked about.
Too much.
With Star Wars.
It has watered down the experience.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Last year, not only me, I've heard it from other people. I was fatigued. I was just kind of over it. I'm like, I don't know where we're going with the MCU. I don't know what the mainline story is. Some of this stuff is just not sticking with me. And a lot of people felt that way. And they now have announced this past weekend, they did talk about this. They said they are sticking to 3 movies a year and 2 shows a year.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Yeah.
So we are going to get 3 movies, 2 shows.
Yeah.
And they said there could be room where maybe you got 4 movies and 1 show, or 3 shows and 2 movies. But for the most part, they're not going to inundate us. And
also the cost is crazy.
Well, yes, and they're laying off like crazy.
Yeah.
But
that was just because
we originally were going to get 4 to 5 MCU shows this year.
Yeah.
Now we're getting 2.
Yeah.
So they know. And I think they know because the criticisms about some of this stuff is loud and clear, and they're listening to the audience. And, She-Hulk was not received well. Ant-Man was not received well.
You say that, but it's made like over $200 million.
Yeah, but it had one of the biggest drop-offs in MCU history. It had an 80% drop-off.
Well, is that the movie, or
That's the movie.
can that be attributed
Word
to...
of mouth wasn't good.
Exactly that, or people just wait until they hear what other people say before they just make their own decisions.
If word of mouth isn't good and people are like, you don't really need to see this.
And also, you can wait 3 months and it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but also, Ant-Man did not feel like Ant-Man to me. It didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie. I don't know. That movie it didn't feel like Ant-Man.
It seems like since Endgame, the Marvel storyline's been kind of lost.
Yes. Well,
Like,
also...
it doesn't know what it wants to do.
Also,
or where it's going.
We've had the most amount of MCU content in Phase 4 than any phase before. Each phase has a certain amount. This one, they said, was over 100 hours of content.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's taking too long to get to the main story.
It's getting too long to figure out what you should be following.
Like, we know Kang is the villain of the big villain.
But he doesn't feel like a big villain to me. Or a lot of people, because Ant-Man took him down so easily. So now,
that version of him,
and he was supposed to be one of the worst.
Yeah.
Which makes so Ant-Man takes down one of the worst versions. Now, come to find out, we have hundreds.
Yeah.
But they're easily taken down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel the agency right now.
Well, it's different. The other thing too is it feels like the Kang that was in Loki.
Well, it's a different.
Seemed more dangerous than the one that was in Ant-Man.
Well, it was a mystery to him. We don't.
You know what I mean? It's like it seemed like there was like there needs like it's almost like okay, so Kang is the story. Like I know we're heading towards Kang Dynasty, and that's what we're heading towards, and all that.
Yes.
And I think it's also the factor of he's going to be Kang as the major villain is always going to be compared to Thanos in storyline.
But if he's done right, he shouldn't be.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, he's always going to be like, he was the next big bad.
Yes.
Thanos was the first big bad. Is he going to be as dangerous feeling as Thanos was?
As of right now, no. He doesn't feel dangerous.
Yeah. And the thing is, with Thanos, we didn't see him.
Right.
For a long while until he appeared
in Guardians.
A portion.
He's in Guardians 1.
Yeah, and after trailer thing.
And then he showed up like throughout.
Yeah.
But Kang is already, we've seen him in Loki.
Instantly. Before, like, as soon as the thing comes out, he's already showing up.
Yeah.
So we know he's going to be the big bad, and you're having to see him more. So I think it's a different way of doing it. I think that's the difference, is like the mystery of what the omnipresent being was that was controlling everything.
Yeah.
I think worked better than just here's who's the bad guy. Here's what you're going to be seeing for the next. You're going to be seeing this same guy for the next
year,
10 years, basically.
Yeah, who knows?
Or however long this is going to go for.
And now this is going to tie into the Secret Invasion trailer that came.
Yeah,
well,
that's what I was trying to get to. Yeah.
I'm more interested in this because I was more intrigued by the Skrulls at the end of Spider-Man 2.
And this reminds me more of Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And I like that espionage-y type story.
Yes,
stuff.
more down to earth.
Yes, grounded in reality kind of thing.
So the Skrulls showed
Albeit
up...
it's like aliens that can shapeshift and stuff. But
okay, the Skrulls showed up in 2 movies.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 and then Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Then they disappeared completely. We haven't seen them. And I was more invested in the Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
And it took us a whole year to get here.
Yeah.
And I am more interested in Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I see the trailer and I'm excited for Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I'm excited for 2 Marvel things this year. Secret Invasion, which comes out June 21st.
I think so. Yeah.
And
Your birthday.
Guardians 3, my birthday.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 MCU things I'm really excited for. I kind of wish Secret Invasion was the bigger thing.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be. I think it's going to be more of the grounded thing of it. It's going to be. I think you might get some of the TV heroes might appear in Secret Invasion.
Well, it looks like there's a lot of people. Yeah.
So I think you're going to get a lot of that. I think you're going to get. It's going to be. They're not going to give you the big stuff now because you have till June till it comes out.
Right.
So this is just the first trailer for it. But I think as we get closer, you're gonna get more of that like bigger stuff. I'm
honestly really excited for it.
Yeah, because this could be, if done correctly, this could be like one of the biggest things they've done on the TV side.
I think it could be one of their best things.
Yeah.
Other than Loki, which
also comes out this year too.
Yes, that's
Season
the
2.
only two shows that are coming out now.
Yeah.
Which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah.
So I think if they're going to move the Secret Invasion plot forward, and then we're going to have more of the King stuff in Loki Season 2, Guardians 3 is going to end those characters. I'm sure there's going to be something at the end that's going to bring it in.
Yeah.
And
I mean, do you think there's any possibility of any of those characters surviving into like the bigger universe?
Yes. I don't think all of them are going to die.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're going to like that kind of situation. But
I think we will see certain characters reappear in other projects.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know where we went and how we got here, but yeah, Secret Invasion does look fun.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the legacy characters, and seeing Samuel L. Jackson back as Nick Fury excites me a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that's what kind of killed me with Ant-Man. I was kind of disappointed because I love Ant-Man.
Yes. The other thing with the Nick Fury story that I think needs to be touched on in this somehow is, why was he in space? What was he doing in space?
Yeah. Those are all questions that just been hanging out forever.
No, connection to that. It just, he appeared in space.
Spider-Man 2.
In Spider-Man 2. And that was the last time we heard about it.
And I think that's also very frustrating to the fans, because we usually get a payoff.
Yeah. There's not a lot of spinning wheels.
If you put everything that we saw at the end, all the stingers of all Phase 4, it's like a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Like, what are we following here?
It's like everything's going to different places.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different big stories going on at once. That's the other thing.
Yeah. Right.
There's not one cohesive story that's going on.
No.
You have the Eternals story going on that was doing stuff, and there was the thing with the Black Knight and Blade.
That hasn't been touched on.
No one knows what's going on there.
The Thunderbolts is going to be a thing, but that is a thing. And that was like a whole thing
with that, with like, is the thing, the omnipresent being that was talking at the end of Eternals was one of the Celestials. Where is that going on? Celestials have not been really brought up since.
No. Nothing has.
It's like there's like 3 big stories that are kind of floating in the Marvel Universe right now. And it's like no one really knows where we're going with it.
And I kind of, don't you kind of miss the days before Endgame? I just miss those characters, and I miss how concise.
Well, it seemed like there was
all
more
the storytelling
of a coherent
was
story trail, like a story.
I kind of miss that.
Like a coherent, everything was heading towards Thanos.
Yeah.
Now it seems like
everything's going
some things
somewhere.
are heading towards Celestials. Some things are heading towards Skrulls. Some things are heading towards Kang.
Yeah.
It's like,
and some things don't even.
We have 3
go anywhere.
Possibilities of big bads that we're heading towards.
Yeah.
And even Guardians is Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
And whatever else is going on there.
Yeah.
So like, how does that connect to this bigger story?
Yeah.
It's like there's too many plates spinning. Like Thor really wasn't like anything involved with anything.
No. It's just a new to his story.
Villain,
and that, I liked Thor: Love and Thunder.
Was it connected to anything? So I think that's the thing, is like the villains in the first 3 phases all somewhat had connections to Thanos.
It was building to it.
Something Thanos was in the background doing things.
Yeah.
This one, it seems like there's no omnipresent being doing everything. There's multiple directions that
we're not cohesive at all right now.
So I think that's where we need to head towards. But yeah, Secret Invasion, I'm excited for.
Yes.
I mean, it's not till June, so we got plenty of time. And we'll get more trailers
You say plenty of time?
It's 2 months away.
Yeah. It's not plenty of time. I'm so excited because we're a month away from Guardians 3, which
I know. I can't even think about that.
I'm so excited for Guardians 3.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we got Loki in the summer.
Well, no, we got Secret Invasion in the summer, because that starts.
Well, yeah, but Loki's supposedly coming out around that same time too.
It's probably going to be late summer then.
Yeah, I would assume so. Probably nearer to fall. Marvel's in November, and then not connected to anything. But the thing I'm really excited for, X-Men '97, is dropping this year too.
Well, the cartoon.
Yeah. Just picking up right where the story left off, which means I have to rewatch the original X-Men again. to be able to remember what the story is.
I don't remember what the story is.
It's on Disney Plus.
No, I know.
Yeah.
So we'll end this by saying, I
Yes.
agree with Bob Iger and Kevin Feige. You allow each story to shine.
Yes.
The thing is, there's so much content out there right now, and if you bury it by putting everything back to back the way it has been.
Yes.
So when Guardians 3 comes out, all of May is going to be Guardians.
Yes.
And then when Secret Invasion drops in June, that's the focus. And they can allow that show to breathe because it's not buried in between two movies and two other shows.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest problem. And this is something I said a long time ago with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Quality over quantity.
And speaking of which, quality over quantity. We talked last week about episode 4 or episode 5. Was it 5?
It's episode 4.
4.
We're on 5.
We're on 5.
We are
Yes.
literally approaching the end
Yes.
game of Mando
Yes.
season 3.
So episode 4, we were wondering where we were going with everything and
Yeah.
what was happening.
Yeah.
And episode 5 dropped on Wednesday. The Pirate was the name of the episode. And things are happening. Things happened. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of things that we were wondering about were all answered for us instantly in one episode.
It was a better episode.
It was a way better episode.
Yes.
I was like, this is the Mando I've been waiting for.
I mean,
it's still the story of Bo, the book of Bo Katan is still going on
I still have
in the background, but
Yeah, well, no, that's the forefront of the whole series is
Yeah.
Bo. Din and Grogu have been pushed to the background. They're barely in the show.
well, I think it's
it's all about Bo.
I think it's a subterfuge that's going on right now with this. It's like, oh, Bo's the big story, and Din and Grogu are fine, and everything's hunky dory, and there's no problems. And then we're gonna be hit like this week with, oh, at the very end of this episode that we just watched, that is gonna come back as a thing.
Well,
this
no,
episode.
I think Bo is going to ride the Mythosaurus at the
Yes.
end. I also think we have now, at the end of this episode, we know Moff Gideon is out there.
Yes.
And he escaped.
Yes,
And that Mandalorians helped him, supposedly.
supposedly, but I
Or-
think there's a thing to that which I think is not what it seems to be. I
Well-
don't think they helped him. I think he was.
Could be a faction of Mandalorians.
I think he's a faction of Mandalorians that hijacked the transport to bring him to Mandalorian justice, as opposed to going to the New Republic for justice. So I think that's what that's heading towards.
You think? I'm sure we'll find out this week.
Because there's like a group that was in Rebels, which I want to say it's called like the Night Watch or something like that. I could be wrong, but there was a group of Mandalorians that Bo-Katan dealt with in Rebels. That was like a faction of the Mandalore that was very like the main group that the security team for Mandalore.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on there.
So you don't think
I could be wrong.
You don't think he's free?
I don't
You
think he's free. I think he's captured by Mandalorians.
Another
they're holding
faction of
him.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll
Which
find
could
out.
be not true, but that's my thought.
But also,
And I think the
who-
cool thing of bringing that X-Wing pilot back into the fold as a bigger character is a cool way to replace the Cara Dune character. Like,
why? Wasn't he in season 1?
yeah, but now they
yeah.
make him more of a bigger character, and he starts
he's
his
patrol.
own like squadron of
Yeah.
like. There's your like that one base scene in this. I was like, I want that show. Where's that show? I want to watch the show of that squadron
Yeah.
flying around doing things. And they had a character from Rebels in that scene
Yeah.
that I like geeked out about. Zeb.
I knew
the
you
alien.
would.
I was like,
I don't know
that's
who he
Zeb.
is.
That's Zeb from Rebels. Now he's part of that group. I'm like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
your
yeah.
into that for the fan base.
Yeah.
They can connect into that. So
Yeah. See, all this stuff is lost to me. I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
But either Moff Gideon did escape with help from somebody, or
Yeah.
like you say, there's a theory of maybe he's being brought. But we know we're going back to Mandalore. We're going back to that planet. They're going to retake it.
they're
know
gonna try to, yes.
We know that this is the Bo story. We know that she
Well,
has.
I think it's just she's the.
It's her. This is her show now.
They're using her to get back to Mandalore, but I think that the major parts is going to come out with whatever's happening with Moff Gideon. If he's loose, he's now looking for the Darksaber back.
Well,
there's the Mando thing.
It has to be Moff Gideon is up to no good because who put the order to blow up Bo's place?
Yeah, that's the thing. What's the Empire connection to this?
Right.
There's someone in the Empire that's controlling things.
And then you go back to episode 3.
And you go back to when the pilot goes to Coruscant, to Meadows, which is awesome. See him in there.
Yeah.
And Schmarmy McSchmarmerton, whatever that character's name is distracting Tim Meadows' character from what's going on.
Well, he's very just kind of like, yeah.
She's very like, they're not members, so we shouldn't protect them. They should have to fend for themselves.
Well, it's showing how they're just idiots now and they're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's just a bureaucracy of not enough, no organization going on.
Right.
And how like the Empire can easily
Right, they're going to take over.
Yeah, Last Order happens.
Yes. Yeah. While I did like the episode, I mean, it was I texted you, that should have been episode 3. That should have been episode 3 or 4. I kind of feel like we had this slog of a season so far.
It seems like unfortunately, it seems to be like they just wrapped up the season of Bad Batch. And like I've watched the last 2 episodes and they're really good. And they're heading towards telling the story of clones and the Emperor setting up the cloning story.
Episode 3, I kind of feel like that's...
which is kind of like that. I think they're kind of hinting back at that thing again, but whatever. But, which made me think about it more after that with the Bad Batch story, is I think the reason why that other character erased his mind is because they don't want cloning to be popularized or talked about.
Well, yeah, because he's the one.
Let's squash his.
He's the source.
Yeah, so let's squash him, and then we could keep doing our cloning thing. Off the books kind of thing.
Yeah, because if he were to regain his memory at any time,
or if he was to keep going with the cloning thing, people would start looking into cloning and find out that someone was doing cloning already, and find out what they're doing with the Empire.
Because if I remember correctly, the nurse in there had said, it kind of doesn't completely wipe your mind, but we just do it in a way where you kind of forget things. Yeah. But there's a good chance you might remember. And that's why she was like, I'm going to crank this bad boy all the way up as I could. 11. Yeah. I don't want him to remember a damn thing.
So I think that's the thing there. But it was a way better episode.
Yes.
And you have a rating for this episode?
I have a final thought and rating.
Okay.
Let's do final, because we didn't do our first reaction.
Give your final thought.
All right. My final thought.
I'm only speaking along because we're already almost an hour and a half in.
All right, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Real quick. Okay.
We're supposed to be trying to knock this down to an hour.
Okay, we're going to end this in an hour and 20. I know it. All right. I'm going to save my final thought until Mandalorian ends this season, because I feel like if I were to say what I feel now, it might not be... I might have to retract something if things change. For me, this episode was definitely an 8. Okay. It's probably the best of the season, I think. I think I've given everything a 7 except for last week I gave it a 5.
Okay.
So it's an 8 for me. It was. I like the dogfight scenes were awesome.
Yes.
I want to see more of Din and Grogu. That's why I watch Mandalorian. I'm not attached to any of these other characters. Bo, she's just okay. I hope season 4, we get back to that. But as of right now, I did enjoy it. It was a fun one.
See, this is the thing. I think this is the other part of this is I think you not knowing or watching the comics or the cartoons.
Yeah.
You don't have the attachment to the Bo character.
No, I don't.
That folks who've watched those shows have.
Yeah.
So I think it's
I'm more attachment to Din and Grogu.
Because you just watch the Mandalorian. You don't watch the other stuff.
No.
So I think that's the difference. I'm realizing that now because for me, I don't mind the Bo stuff as much because I know that story and I know what she's gone through in her story.
Yeah.
That it makes sense that this is called The Mandalorian. It's not per se saying Din is the
I
Mandalorian.
get that.
It's
I
just
get that.
about Mandalorian.
I get that. It's a me thing.
Yeah.
I
So
get that.
I think that's why I've been thinking. That's why I think that I think of the episodes differently than you do because I know that story and I know where they're kind of. I think I know where they're going with it.
Yeah.
So it makes a different context to it. I have more context to her character than you do.
Right. Before you give me the one thing I will say, I can say it now. It's not going to change how I feel. I kind of wish they, instead of concluding the story in Book of Boba Fett, they had did that in this season because it would have been a little bit more exciting. We went into season 3 with really everything we thought was an issue was a non-issue.
Yeah.
The dark sword became nothing. Nobody cares about that anymore.
Yeah.
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 But we're literally almost done with the season.
Yeah.
And then the whole Din taking his helmet off, getting punished for it. And then in this episode, Bo takes her helmet off and they're like, she will walk between all the worlds. It's okay. And I'm like, then why did Din have to go through all that? Why didn't he be the guy who walked between all the worlds?
Because I think it was the thing of, with Bo, she is technically royalty
Yeah, but
to the Mandalorians.
Din
So
is
I think it's
a
more,
lone wolf.
I think
He
it's,
could have walked between the worlds.
Yeah, but her character's was originally not a always on helmet character.
I understand, but as a non,
So I think that the thing of the thought of the story is,
it fell flat
from the
for
armorer
me.
side is, people know you with the helmet on, with the helmet off. So you can go from the two worlds of Mandalorians and other parts of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Because you have that connection on both sides.
Listen, I'll keep my judgment
Din
until the season
raised
ends.
in the religion that they're doing, that they're a part of, with that group and everything, and he went through that stuff, and he's like did the thing like the kid did at the beginning, where
he had to do it though to save himself.
So, but I'm saying when
Yeah.
he was a foundling, he went through that whole thing.
Yeah,
So he's more attached to the
indoctrinated.
religion,
Yeah.
I think. So I think having his character be that character that can go helmet on, helmet off makes less sense than a character who 90% of the time was helmet on, helmet off, and is now just recently.
No, I know. She was
went through
already
the right,
part of a different
and then
plan.
they're like, well, yeah. So I mean, so I think it's easier for them to use that person to
I
do
get
it. So
it.
I think that's what they're the thing with the Bo's
Right.
characters. That's the
No, what you say makes
easy
total
explanation for that
sense.
one.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish Book of Boba Fett was encapsulated and you just dealt with him, because now it would have been great. That cliffhanger picking up in season 3 would have been awesome.
I think also too, if they're like, I don't know, it's like if they gave you like a synopsis of Bo's story for the folks who haven't seen
Right. I
Clone
think
Wars or Rebels or anything and have seen stuff she's been in, then you didn't have more attachment to
Right.
the character.
Also,
and
I-
it'd make more sense.
also-
because if you don't have seen any of that stuff,
I don't know.
she's
any-
basically just dropped in during Book of Boba Fett, and now dropped in during season 2 of Mando.
Yes.
And now is in season 3.
Yeah.
And you don't have any attachment to her.
And she's
All
literally.
you know is she's a random Mandalorian that doesn't have her helmet on.
And she's just taking over everything.
Yeah, and she's now the main, somewhat of the main character. of
Right,
this season.
right.
So
And I have to come to terms with that. I think all these live action shows are now just going to be part of a universe. I don't
Yes.
even think the name even matters anymore at this point.
well,
The Book of Boba Fett turned into the Mando Din show,
Yes.
and now this show is turned into the Bo show. So I
Yes.
feel like the name.
it's very much in the MCU kind of thing, like Captain America: Civil War.
But it's going to
Woodley
be all.
wasn't totally about Captain America.
But it's going to be.
It had all
about-
these other people in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like the shtick.
I think
of it.
that's
So
what's
it's kinda
going to
like that
happen.
kind of thing.
I feel like it's a
Yeah.
bigger world they're
Like
building.
Captain America: Winter Soldier was about the Winter Soldier more than it was about Captain America.
Yeah.
But
Well, his name was in it too.
his name was in it.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean, besides that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll wait till it's
Yeah.
over. We can discuss more. But
Yeah,
I like Din and Grogu. That's what I want
Yeah.
to see. So what
Yeah.
they tune into.
yeah.
So
It's
that's
like
just
they
me.
it's like they call it Star Wars. but it's got other people in it
Yeah.
and other stories in it.
Yeah.
Just this, for some reason, it's called The Mandalorian, but it's not just about The Mandalorian.
Also, the poster to promote this season is him with the dark sword. We've seen the dark sword once.
Yeah.
That whole subplot was dropped. I'm like, why?
Well, I don't think it's been dropped. I think it's just there's other stuff going on right now.
I know.
I still think there's 3 episodes left in this season, and I think we're going to get a lot of like what's going to come
These
out this
3
episode.
episodes have to give us. The Mythosaurus has to be brought up.
You're going to get this episode.
Moff Gideon
6
has
is
to be
going to
brought
be what the big issue of the season's going to be. 7's going to be figuring out how to solve the big issue of what the season's going to be, and then 8's going to be figuring out this or finishing off the big story of this season.
Yeah.
Or setting up what the big next thing's going to be.
In Ahsoka or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. It's only 3 episodes, and the episodes are so short. So it's like
They're like 40 minutes long.
that's the longest one of the season.
Yeah.
The
I think they get longer. They
The
usually-
last one was like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been very short.
They get a lot of stuff in. Like even just Bad Batch. They're like 20-minute episodes, but they get a lot of information in them.
Yeah.
They don't waste the minutes.
We'll see where it all goes.
All right. So real quick,
For
what
you.
was your...
I gave it an 8.
gave it an 8?
Yeah,
Okay.
right. The highest one of the season, I think.
I agree. I'll give this one an 8 as well, with room for improvement, as your teacher used to write on your papers when you were younger.
Yes.
Yeah, room for improvement.
The next 3 episodes have to continue.
Which I always construed as try harder and don't slack off.
Yeah.
Which I just kept slacking off. But anyway, so I give it an 8. I'm feeling this week's episode is going to be a big episode.
I hope so.
I'm excited for it as always. I mean, it's still one of the best shows on television, even if it's like a bad Mando show is better than half the other stuff that's on TV. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So far.
like last week's episode was better than any CW DC show that's out there.
Right. I'm not watching any of those
Yeah,
shows.
but
So
I'm
I
saying, you know what I'm saying?
compare
It's
it
like
to-
it's not like you're like I'd rather watch 6 hours of
Right.
the Foundling than watch anything else that's on television.
Well, I wouldn't watch that episode. I would rather watch this episode 5. Yes. Yes. Episode 5 was
Yeah.
really good.
So episode 6 drops this week.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that.
We'll be
Next
on
week?
Zoom next
We'll be
week.
back to Zoom next week.
Zoom.
Just because of scheduling and such.
Yeah.
We just can't get everything all together, and it's just a little bit easier. But we'll be back in the studio soon. So
How do
stay
we do
tuned.
this? An hour and 26.
I know.
Yet again.
I know. I think when we're together, we have deeper conversations.
We did have deeper conversations.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think with the Zoom, it's more,
Distractions?
well, not just distractions, but I think there's
Doorbells?
No, it's just, I think it's just, there hasn't been a lot to talk about.
No, I
Not
know.
in-depth stuff.
Yeah.
We're getting to get into the meat of the situation
Yeah.
here.
But I like this. We'll laser focus.
Yeah.
Laser focus,
Yeah.
Mark.
And it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Good stuff,
Yes,
as the
yeah.
kids would say. But yeah, so stay tuned. We'll be back next week. Don't know what we'll be talking about, but I'm sure it'll be something interesting.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that. And hopefully you're listening to our Dungeonetic shows that Bobby's putting out. Those are on Facebook and everywhere else.
Podbean. Yeah.
And all that and more. So as always, be safe, be well, be kind.
And rewind.
Bye, everybody.